Pub Battles, Marengo, by Command Post Games. Napoleon has surrounded the Austrians in Alexandria. The Austrians are starving, without supply, they've got to break out. The French also cannot last forever. Something has to happen. Very early in the morning, a disturbance is heard. It's as if 1,000 Austrians were saying, "Shh, be very quiet. We're hunting Fwenchman." Let us begin with the Austrian breakout move. That is the Austrian surprise breakout. Over here on the left, the French cautiously slide back. Victor extends the French line. Napoleon rushes forward. Melas commands moves out, ready to begin the assault. But there's some confusion in the Austrian rear, and Ott's men are still behind the river, and the cavalry and artillery of the main Austrian force is still in Alexandria. Murat's cavalry swings wide on the French left. The Austrians extend their right as they hear the thundering cavalry approach. The Austrians open with the Grenadiers' assault. Victor's corps reels, but the Grenadiers are thrown back. Victor's line is stretched thin, cannot hold the Grenadiers' assault. Murat's cavalry hits the Austrian right with everything they've got. Melas continues to drive hard on the center as they try to pry open the French army. Victor's corps falls back. Ott's troops scramble forward, finally getting out of the way of Melas' artillery and cavalry, still bottled up in Alexandria. O'Reilly desperately tries to save the Austrian right. Lannes bravely attacks the Austrian right. Over here, the French abandon their attack, and the Austrians form up in square in counter. Here on the French left, Lannes' drive is not as successful as he might have hoped, but the Austrian light troops are falling back. Murat's cavalry reorganize in the orchard. Lannes' corps adds pressure on the Austrian right. Over on the Austrian right, Riley recovers his forces, and he's just trying to draw off as many French forces as he can from the Austrian main effort. Ravaud's dragoons have arrived. They're riding over here to join the rest of Murat's command. And the last of Melas' command is finally breaking out of Alexandria. Here we have the cavalry in column. Victor is forced back, but Melas swarms the emperor. The cavalry swarms Lannes' corps from behind. The Austrian artillery opens up in the French right, but is ineffective. Nevertheless, Ott sends his troops in. Napoleon falls back in good order. Lannes' corps tries to fight its way out. Murat desperately tries to save Lannes' corps. And so Murat is able to run down the light troops and the Liechtenstein dragoons and destroy them. But in the center, Watrin still can't escape. And here on the French right, the Austrians push hard. Victor's corps is slowly becoming nothing, and the Austrians are pushing ahead. They're trying to reach this point. That's their breakout line, there or there. This is more likely, and the French are running out of troops. And here, O'Reilly's light troops attempt to run this holdout French into the river. And here Murat's cav try to run down the last of the French cav. Ott advances forward on the Austrian left. Desai enters to save the day. Melas brings a grand shift of his center to come around. Victor's troops race back, and now it becomes a desperate race. O'Reilly's corps holds out desperately. Here Lannes is able to destroy the handful of troops that were left in his way, and Melas recalls the cavalry he has sitting here. This may be the end of the Grenzers in O'Reilly's corps. Napoleon, Victor, and Desai have rebuilt the French line. Lannes pulls back. Here the French give a little ground, but cause heavy losses on the Austrians. And here the cuirassiers run down the last of the light troops. Now the Austrian bags are very exposed. Night is falling. The last chance to do anything. The Austrian bags race off. The consular guard plugs the line, while the artillery fires ineffectively at the Austrians. Melas' artillery opens up on Victor's right, pushing it back. Murat's cavalry races after the bags, while the Ravaud charges after the Austrian rearguard. Desai's corps begins rolling up on the Austrian right. Ott does what he can with what he has left. Victor's corps falls back, mission accomplished. The Austrians have been denied an escape, and Lanné's corps slams into the Austrians in the rear, although his exhausted troops are unable to accomplish anything. The Austrian detachment that was there has been destroyed, but the trap has been sprung, and now Revaud faces another cavalry unit he can't run away from that's heavier than him, and he's flanked. He's able to get away though. Over here we have the Emperor attacking the Grenadiers. After heavy fighting between the Consular Guard and the Grenadiers are driven off, only to have the Kaiser's Dragoons charge in. Both units fight to the last as the sun goes down and the battle ends. The Austrians have failed to break out. The French have contained them. Napoleon rides back to Paris, telling everybody he saved France.